Hey there, thanks for joining us for this special Q&A episode of the Made It in Music podcast. Recently, we posted an episode with Josh Simons, who is the CEO and co-founder of Vampr, the world's largest and most active social professional network for musicians. Make sure you check that out when you get the chance. Suzanne says, is it true that Vampr is only available as a phone app, no desktop version?
Yes, that is true. We actually are building a desktop version as we speak. Been in the works for quite a long time. It's a very tricky thing to do, but the phone version is sort of where it's at right now. It's where the networking happens. We do offer a whole bunch of other services like publishing, representation, or sync rather, representation, distribution to your Spotify's and Apple Music and all that. That side of the company is all desktop based, but the networking side is entirely phone experience, at least at the moment. So yes, that answers your question, Susan, hopefully.
Gotcha. Okay.
I see that she asked how much is available if you don't get the.
Go ahead.
As I said, I think I touched on that before. Somewhere between like 80 and 90% of the features, all the networking stuff is free. There are some limits, like you can't send unlimited connection requests on the free model. You still get a healthy amount. You can send 30 connection requests a day. The truth is you shouldn't be sending 30 connection requests a day because it's unlikely that there's 30 people that you need to speak to per day that you've never met before. But you get 30 free connection requests a day. A pro account gets unlimited. But again, that's probably the only restriction as far as the networking stuff goes. All the other stuff that you get with the subscription pertains more to the royalties that you keep should you use distribution, should you use the sync program. But none of those, everything's ad hoc. So you can come into Vampr and just use it to network. You can come in and just use it to distribute. You can come in, you use it however you like, and most of it's free.
Very cool. Okay, so a little bit more time with Josh. If y'all have any questions, type them out in the chat. Throw your hand up. I know I've got more that I can keep rattling off, but I'm sure people out there have plenty of questions. Networking is one of those things that all of us, I feel like we struggle with. And so it's great to have your wisdom, and it's great to have your tools that you're building to empower musicians.
To be honest, like one of the reasons I created the platform was I didn't like networking myself. And I was like, it would be nice if I could do it from the comfort of my bedroom rather than having to constantly jump on planes and trains and automobiles and, spend time and money hoping to meet the right person. What if I could just sift through a whole bunch of profiles? That was kind of the original idea. The other thing I should point out, because I think it is unique and it's interesting, is that we are the only platform of our size that is like, it's a user-owned platform. So Vampr is owned by its users. If you think, like, I'm sure you've all seen Wikipedia. Once a year, it will say, donate $1 or whatever. And the difference is that's a donation. So we do the same thing. About once a year, we do a drive to raise money to support the platform. But the difference is our users actually own equity. So whenever we go to sell Vampr one day, or if it goes public, and those are the two outcomes we pursue, you will see a return on that. And just by complete coincidence that we're having this chat today, we wrap that up in 24 hours or just under or something. So, you guys have just heard of this probably for the first time, but it's probably just worth pointing it out and letting you guys know that that's something cool that we do and that sets us apart from your TikToks and Instagrams and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So how do people participate in that? Obviously, there are people who are the investors, but then just the user side, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, so in the app itself, when you first sign, well, not when you first sign up, but after a few sessions, you'll probably see a little banner that says, if you're interested in owning a slice of the company, click here. And it just takes you through to it's called a WeFunder page. So equity crowdfunding, it's sort of relatively new in the United States, was introduced as part of the Jobs Act in 2012, but it allows, they call them unaccredited or unsophisticated investors or something. It's quite a rude name, but basically folks that are just on a normal paycheck, like probably most of us here, including myself, it allows you to invest in private companies before they go public, which is unusual. That option wasn't around in the time when Facebook was founded, when Twitter was founded, all those sorts of things. So yeah, there's not many companies that actually do it well. We're one of a handful that have raised well over $1 million. We've raised $3.5 million in total using predominantly through this funding source, which places us probably in the top 0.1% of companies that have ever done this in the States. But yeah, for us, we did it originally because we had to. And then now we do it because we realized when we did it the first time, oh my God, our users feel so empowered owning a slice. I think as little as $100 back then. And they became brand evangelists. So they became super users that were logging on every day, networking. They loved it. They were proud to talk about it. They brought other people to the platform. And it was just so abundantly clear to us that user-owned platforms are the way of the future. And it, just sort of, yeah, I don't know. I've basically said everything I want to say. It's fundamentally opposite approach than your Facebooks and stuff like that. Yeah,
man, that's so cool. And I definitely don't want to take us down a rabbit trail of that, because that stuff just from a entrepreneurial side is super fascinating. Has Vampr been essentially, up until the point of doing WeFunder, was Vampr essentially bootstrapped at the beginning, or did you guys start with any funding from the front end?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we got some funding from angels. So obviously, because I was an artist that did relatively okay, I knew some music executives. The thing that people don't probably realize is that, if you think about executives in other industries, they might be earning $500,000 to $1 million a year. Music industry executives at the top end are earning like $200,000 to $300,000 a year. So that doesn't actually leave them with a lot of disposable income to invest in $1 million ventures. So I was able to pull together 25 grand from this person, 50 grand from this person. And it was really hard work, like 18 months to pull together $300,000, like not particularly sustainable, especially when you've got, 15 staff members to pay. So we did a lot of that. And then we were like, okay, we need to raise a substantially bigger amount. And that's when we turned to the crowd. Since then, that because we've done so well crowdfunding, we've attracted VCs, we've attracted, private equity, other sources, which I won't bore people with. But yeah, about 60% of all money raises come from the crowd, the other 40% coming from more traditional sources.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Justin Williams got a good question. What's the best thing you've learned that would help anyone trying to make it in music? It's a great question.
Just keep turning up. That's literally the only answer I have. Just keep showing up. It will happen. The winners in this world, in any industry, and I think especially in the creative arts, are the ones who don't get broken. Because if you keep turning up, you're going to inevitably along the journey keep improving your skill set and what you have to offer. The value that you have to bring into the room, whether it's your skill or your experience or a combination probably of the two, increase somewhat exponentially. And then, of course, the other reason why you should keep turning up is that eventually the old guard dies off and then your generation becomes the leaders. And if you've been nice and you've been building those relationships that we were talking about before the whole time, and you keep turning up and you've been, improving your value, eventually you're going to be the one that people call. It's just a matter of time and perseverance. That's the key.
Yeah. It's great advice. It definitely echoes Lauren Robinson and Dustin Burnett, aka Zayd Wolf. You may, I don't know if you're connected with him. He has a company that calls That Sound that he recently just sold. But he said the same thing at our boot camp, was like he was the person that just stood in line the longest.
Yeah.
And by the time you make it to the front of the line, you keep doing your thing. You're not even really changing anything. You're still doing your thing. You're still showing up. It's just that patience and perseverance.
It's pretty cool. When you understand that and you believe in yourself and you believe in what you do and you know that little secret, it's like, it helps you sleep easier at night.
It does. Absolutely. Any other questions from the crowd while we've got Josh Simons on here today? Everybody hanging in there okay? Happy Wednesday afternoon. Nicole says, grateful for all the advice. Awesome.
Thank you, Nicole.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Well, we will, if nobody's got anything else, we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up there today. How can people connect with Vampr? If people are interested in it, how do people get signed up there?
Yeah, so the website's vampr.me, so that's vampr.me. The links to download the app are right up the top on the banner there. It's very hard to miss. So, but if you have any issues or anything, our customer support team's, I think, the best in the world. We get back to everyone within 12 hours usually. So you can email us, or eventually you can usually get onto me too at social@vampr.me. Happy to help people through. And also we quite often get people just asking for advice on their career or feedback on tracks. And when time permits, the team will always provide it. So we're always happy to be a sounding board as well. social@vampr.me if you want to get in touch. And I don't have personal social media accounts. I have very old ones that aren't active. So you might find something, but I'm not on it. There's nowhere to find me, but certainly you can find the company and usually get to me.
Awesome. Ted asked about the desktop version. I think you already hit on that you guys are kind of in development for that.
It's happening. I don't know. I can't provide a month, but I would suggest by the end of the year seems reasonable.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Great. Well, Josh, thanks so much for creating an amazing platform and giving us a little bit of your time today.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
It's great to meet y'all, or it's great to meet you. And we'll talk to the rest of you guys. We'll be on our regular weekly coffee chats this Friday. So we'll see y'all then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks for checking out this special Q&A episode of the Made It in Music podcast. At Full Circle Music, we're constantly developing free and premium resources for anyone who wants to find success in the music industry, because we know it's hard. We've all started with nothing, and we want to help you accomplish the dreams that you've always had for the music you create. You can go to madeitinmusic.com to learn more about our podcast. And if you'd like to actually participate in these training and Q&A sessions live on our Song Chasers community, go to joinsongchasers.com. Joining these sessions is an exclusive opportunity just for members, and we would love to have you join hundreds of other songwriters inside the community if you're interested. Plus, there are dozens of other major benefits that Song Chasers members get that we have designed to help move their careers and goals forward as simply as possible. Again, go to joinsongchasers.com. Thank you for supporting this show, and I hope you'll stick around for the next episode.